When you first watched Kung Fu Panda, you probably thought Tai Lung was just your standard, terrifying bad guy. I mean, the dude literally broke out of the most secure prison in the world using a single mountain duck feather. He seemed like a guy who just wanted absolute power to crush anyone in his way, right? But watch the scene again where he finally rips open the legendary dragon scroll. When he sees his own reflection on that blank piece of paper, he doesn't look like an evil mastermind whose master plan just got foiled. He looks completely broken. For years, we've treated Tai Lung like a guy who was just obsessed with becoming the ultimate boss of the Jade Palace. But the truth is way sadder than that. Today, we're going to talk about why the most dangerous fighter in animation history didn't actually care about the ultimate power. He was just a kid who spent his whole life waiting for his dad to say, "I'm proud of you." To get why Tai Lung turns into such a monster, we have to look at how Master Shifu raised him. When Shifu found that little abandoned cub on the palace steps, Tai Lung wasn't just a normal student to him. Shifu poured all his own hopes and pride into the kid. From day one, Shifu drilled it into his head that he was meant to be the absolute best. So, when Tai Lung trained, he wasn't doing it for fun, or even for himself. Every single punch he threw was just a desperate attempt to make his dad proud. The weight of expectations. Think about the kind of pressure that puts on a kid. Because of how Shifu raised him, Tai Lung learned pretty fast that if he wasn't winning, he wasn't going to be loved. Sure, the guy was an absolute tank on the outside. He had all the physical strength in the world. We're talking about a dude who could smash boulders with his bare hands and take down an entire army without breaking a sweat. But on the inside, he was totally running on empty. He had all the muscle, but he never got the one thing he actually needed. The feeling that his dad cared about him just for being himself, no strings attached. The real breaking point happens when Master Oogway looks at Tai Lung and says he can't have the scroll because of the darkness in his heart. But here's the thing, Oogway saying no isn't what ruins Tai Lung. The real damage comes from Shifu. Right there in that room, Shifu just stands there. He doesn't say a single word. He doesn't stick up for the kid who literally gave up his whole life for him. By staying quiet, Shifu basically confirms Tai Lung's worst fear, that his dad only cared about the Dragon Warrior title, not the son behind it. When Tai Lung tears up the valley right after that, he isn't trying to become the ruler of the place. He's throwing a massive, destructive tantrum because he just wants the dad who turned his back on him to finally pay attention. And then there's Pa. Tai Lung doesn't hate Pa just because he's a giant panda. He hates what Pa represents. Think about it from his perspective. Tai Lung did everything perfectly. He trained until his bones ached, learned every single move, and spent 20 years rotting in a dark, miserable prison for his supposed destiny. And then, this random guy who loves noodles and never trained a day in his life just falls out of the sky and gets the title? It makes Tai Lung realize all his suffering was totally unfair and completely pointless. And when he finally looks at the scroll and realizes it's just a mirror, it hits him that the ultimate power was a fake all along. He lost 20 years of his life, locked in the dark, over a blank piece of paper. The absolute saddest part of the whole movie is when Tai Lung pins Shifu down and screams at him,
"Tell me how proud you are, Shifu! Tell me!"
Right there, in that exact moment, it's totally obvious he doesn't care about the scroll anymore. He's literally begging for the love he never got as a kid. Tai Lung shows us exactly what happens when someone ties their entire self-worth to a trophy. On the outside, he was this huge, terrifying fighter. But on the inside, he was still just that little abandoned cub, waiting for his dad to tell him he was enough. He didn't need magic kung fu powers. He just needed a dad who loved him for him, not for the gold medal he could bring home. So yeah, Tai Lung is definitely the bad guy of the movie. But the real tragedy is that he was just a kid pushed way too hard by a mentor who cared more about a destiny than his own son. But what do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments. Do you think Shifu is the one who actually caused all this mess?